Good morning, everyone. It is Tuesday, May 20th, 2025. My name is Don Swanker. I'm going to call the Jackson County Board of Supervisors meeting to order. To my left, I have Mike Steinis. To my right, Nan Flego.
Morning.
We got Bjorn from IT. We got Lisa from the auditors, Luann, the executive assistant, Brittany from the press, and first up today will be Jaden Shekel and company.
Yeah, so I brought our new shop foreman Keith Nims here just to get him some exposure to this. As the first thing on our agenda is awarding of a compact track loader. So we went out for bids or quotes for new compact track loader, minimum of 105 horsepower machine, certain guarding on the machine, as this is going to be intended for our brush removal efforts that we're going to continue to do countywide. Along with that, we sent out alternate quotes for a drum mulching attachment for it. The reason I did it as an alternate was afford us the luxury, depending on what the prices would be of everything, that if it were to be too high, we could at least get the machine and get the mulching head in a different year. At least it afforded us that luxury by doing it that way. But where they came in, I think we're going to go forward with everything. But went out bids for that, received 4 bids back from Altorfers, Kuhnau's, Martin Equipment, and Raider Brothers. I gave you all the bid tab and full comparison of the machines. We are going to, just making sure I have, if you have any questions on any of the guarding or anything, or any of the packages stuff that we spec'd out. I know we did spec out also a triple flanged idlers on the machines. And that's due to try to help minimize our track runoff. So with our Kubota that we have right now, I mean, within the few days after we use it with our mowing attachment that we have, the guys have and do continue to run the tracks off as we start climbing up some of these back slopes and whatnot. So the triple flanged idlers to help, the idlers are on the front and back of your track. So it's to help keep that track in place better than what otherwise would be. Again, all the guarding is just to protect the machine and from flying parts and debris and keep it sealed up properly. Is there any questions on that part of what we spec'd out? Okay, so with the bids, we are recommending the CAT 275 XPS with their mulching attachment for a total of $130,000, 130,835.
Any questions, thoughts, comments?
Are you familiar with the products? I mean, Keith, are you familiar with all these products? I mean, you're okay with
The cat?
Yes.
Good. You can't speak up. You're gonna be there every week, so you might as well get used. What's that?
Is there anybody in the crowd that would like to speak?
We have people online and
Yes, I'd like to address the board, please.
stand up, state your name and
My name is Tim Sherman, and I'm the representative from Martin Equipment.
good.
When your engineers send out the bids for this, you know, we complied with everything that was asked. We bid the machine separately. We bid the cutter separately. To us, it doesn't make any difference at all whose cutter is used on our machine. If you go out to the Brandenburg group, they're not using a John Deere cutter on their machines. If you go down to Campbell Farms, they're not using John Deere attachments on their machines down there. It makes no difference. And we have a number of machines that are doing exactly what your plan is to do that are not running triple flange idlers, and they are not having a problem. So we build these in Dubuque, Iowa. We don't care whose attachment you run on the front. We simply provided what the board asked for in the bid. They specifically asked for that cutter. So we proposed a bid. We did not put it as a one price deal. We submitted it as a main bid and an alternate like they asked. So I just asked the board to consider the machine and then consider the cutter.
Mhm.
And if you have any questions, these are just made in Dubuque, Iowa. We can certainly go up to the factory and get any questions or concerns answered.
So did all four bidders, meet the specs that you called for?
There were some deviations which we leave parts for them to state that, which, the two of them, did state that the triple flanged idlers are not available. So like they were only available with the Cat and the Bobcat. Kuhnau's with the New Holland did not offer it, and neither did the Deere. But other than that, yes, all of them met spec, that there was just that deviation between those two. And when we did this, it wasn't intended to mix and match. I guess it was really intended for us to not award the mulching attachment if that's what the prices came in. And yes, when Cat submitted their price, they did their price of the mulching head included with their machines, like one lump sum package. But for my 2 cents worth, I feel like it's worth, no matter who we were recommending to keep with the same bidder, I guess, with everything. Just, I feel like it would eliminate any issues with, say, a couple years down the road, if something starts going wrong with the machine or the attachment isn't starting to work right. To me, if it wasn't with the one consistent bidder, I would worry you could run into, well, that's not the machine's issue, that's the mulching head's issue. And then you go to the mulching head, or whoever we award the mulching head to, oh, that's not the head, that's the machine's issue. And I feel like it's just pointing fingers. So I feel like there's benefit with awarding it to one manufacturer, or not manufacturer, but one bidder. Just my 2 cents worth.
So the New Holland, unit, is that cutter made by New Holland? That's the second low bid.
No, that's,
Who makes that?
Diamond is the,
So that's just a brand they sell. And John Deere is made by John Deere?
The John Deere head is built by Beacon for us. And then they put John Deere decals and tags on. But we also sell that diamond cutter, but Kuhnau has bid that, so
Well, I guess I look at it and I see advantages, one, keeping everything with one manufacturer or one provider for warranty issues, all that kind of stuff can be the same. Two, the big thing for the citizens of Jackson County is getting the biggest bang for our buck. And right now, to me, Alt offers, they bid a package deal, but it's still meeting all the specs, including the flanges, and they are the lowest bid for the package. To me, that makes sense.
I would make a motion to accept the Altoffer low bid, for the machine and the mulching head as a unit.
I would second that.
Got a motion by Mike, second by Menin to approve the alt offer bid from Cedar Rapids for the Cat 275 XPF and the Cat HM 316 for a purchase price of $130,835. Any other discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Thank you very much. We appreciate it, everybody.
Hey, Tim.
I give an update on construction projects. The Z34 overlay project is, the asphalt is completed. Waiting for, the shoulders actually got completed last week, or finished up yesterday. So now we're just waiting on the milling of the rumble strips, shoulder rumbles and centerline rumbles and pavement markings. So all's gone well with that. On Monmouth Division Street, concrete's all done. I'm just waiting for River City to mobilize and start doing their portion, which will probably be sometime after Memorial Day weekend.
How wide is it gonna be beyond? Cause I drove it and it looks like the center line has been paved. Are they gonna?
For Monmouth?
Yeah.
So
Cause that middle strip is still pretty narrow last I drove on it.
the concrete portion, yeah, so that was removed and replaced with the same width. It was only 20 foot wide before. The asphalt will be done from curb to curb.
Okay.
There will be some, from where the concrete ends, they had to remove some pavements like for the concrete, so we'll have to put in some full depth asphalt and taper out from the concrete to the curb lines. I guess some curb got replaced too, which was part of the plan, in order for when they start doing their milling to have a good curb edge to mill up to, because some of it was either completely gone or so cracked it would have fell apart once you started milling. So that's going smoothly. And Main and Summit is also going well. Retaining walls are still in process yet. Rain obviously today is delaying things and may delay things a little bit tomorrow as well. But as soon as walls are done, they'll start coming in to pour sidewalks, and after that, we'll be backfilling the curves with dirt and soil, topsoil, and seeding it. And pavement markings on that too, but so we're only a couple weeks away from that being completed as well.
Good.
Had the opportunity to drive that Preston Highway, it was a huge improvement.
It's nice.
It's smooth.
Yeah, no, there was a drop off yet on the shoulder, but yeah, they still had rock to put in there, but yeah.
It'll look real nice once the pavement mark, because
Yeah,
these pavement markings are also gonna be the 6 inch wide ones, not the 4 inch wide ones, which is part of the HSIP grant that we got.
nice.
So it'll
So
look,
my car will read that line better, it was bigger.
sure,
You still got.
Now, the bridge, but actually the bridge approach is really nice too,
Yeah.
that made a heck of a difference coming from both sides.
yeah, we may have to, one of the panels has cracked in there and we'll have to get replaced. I'm trying to figure out how that happens. Like, can we close one lane and leave it open with like, almost like Monmouth with our temporary signals, or is it just as easy to, I hate to do this, or close the road temporarily again so they can remove that pavement? Because when the DOT does their, since it's cracked yet and we're still, in construction, when the DOT does their walkthrough, it's gonna be noted to remove and replace.
So who did that? Who poured that? Who did that? Did we do that?
No, that was part of the contract, but
Okay,
I feel like what most likely caused it is the concrete work got done before the asphalt.
yeah,
And then they milled the asphalt and put a slight taper up from the milled surface up to the pavement. And I feel like with the traffic hitting that bump every time, I feel like is what caused that to crack.
it's on the south side of the ridge,
Correct.
going
Yes,
north,
south side.
south side going north though.
Where it butts up to the asphalt.
Yeah,
So it'll have to get
That's
replaced.
where they poured a lot more. How big is the panel that they have to replace?
So that's another thing we're looking at is it acceptable just to do the DOT standards for patching, depending on how. I have to look at the standard, but is a patch acceptable to cut out and replace back a patch, or to do a full panel? But working through that, but if it's a full panel, it's 11 by 20
Yeah.
feet, 11 by 20 panel. So try to avoid that. I mean, if patch is acceptable, it's the whole, that whole slab isn't cracked, it's just on the corner. If a patch is acceptable, it's kind of the route I'm leaning, but just to be aware that we're still working through when that fix would occur and how that fix happens, but.
contractor have any idea? How thick is it?
8 inches.
It
So,
was cured enough, I should imagine.
what's that?
It was cured long
Oh,
enough,
yeah.
I imagine.
Yeah. And because it didn't show
Yeah,
itself
that's too bad.
until like early last week is when it starts showing itself. So, but we'll get it fixed. But just wanted to make you all aware that.
So is that something that also could be on the books if you decide to see what happens there, if anything else does happen, so that you could do it next summer, if it still have it covered or not?
I doubt it. Since when the DOT will do their final
Inspection.
walkthrough, they'll know that needs to be fixed, and where it would be at no expense, to us as the county.
Yeah.
Whereas if you wait, it's an expense to us. So just want to
Keep
make
us
you aware.
informed, get
What's
it
that?
right,
Yeah,
keep us informed.
Other than that, that's all I
Yeah, if you just do the patching, is that gonna cause an unevenness?
No, it won't, but it'd just be, you'd notice, it'd be a visual.
I'd hate to see
Anything.
patchwork on something new.
That's brand new, yeah, that- you know, I feel like you always somewhat still feel it.
Right.
So that'd be just one thing we'd have to work through. I'd work through with the DOT and contractor, because if a patch is an acceptable fix, you know, the contractor, well, they could argue, well, if that's acceptable, why don't we just do that rather than making us tear out all this extra pavement and making us replace that where they have to eat the cost of it. We'll work through it, see what, between us and the DOT and the contractor, we'll work through to see the best outcome.
Okay,
We should get her to turn her phone ringer off during the meeting.
thanks. Jade, is that it?
Yes, we did submit preliminary plans for, the Channelworth Bridge last week too, so that's on track.
Okay,
So,
good.
and I
It's gonna be
will,
let out to the DOT in December,
November,
November.
yep. So, that one's going as planned, and I will follow up with the DOT on the Moorhead Bridge grant status, 'cause I'm sure you three in the public too is probably also wondering what the status of that is, and I do not have an answer on that grant status, as the DOT has not yet informed me. They hadn't made a decision yet, so, but when they were sent out the notice for the funding opportunity, it was expected for a decision by end of March. Well, here we are, end of May, so I just need to continue to follow up, but still no status as of right now.
I've had a few people talk to me with Moorhead being gone. The fact that we're replacing Channelworth is, sounds like, well, you got Baldwin and Macocata to get around, so.
Let's gonna leave, if we don't get the grant, we have worked with our consultant as far as what a repair would be, and our contractor what a repair would be, so we might have to really investigate, if we don't get the grant, doing a repair to get it back open. I guess
Have we got us, is
rough cost.
it possible?
It's possible, but it's only gonna be open back up to the 15-ton weight limit. It's not gonna be, you know, to an unrestricted weight limit, so.
Which that's what it was, wasn't
Yes,
Yeah, so.
But as we all know,
what
things
caused it to
heavier than
begin
that.
with, you know, are we biting our own foot here?
it? Well,
so there'll be future discussions or decisions for us to make, us collectively.
Yep.
But just wanted to make you aware, yeah, I haven't found out unfortunately, but I'll keep bugging.
okay.
Thanks, Ed.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you guys.
Any visitors, whether in person or online, or citizens like to address the board today? I see us online, there's nobody online. Anybody here would like to address the board today? Hearing none, we can move on to Julie Fern, Director of Communities Project Coordinator. Come on
Good
up.
morning.
Good morning. I just wanted to update you on some of the things we're doing. In the budget, which I attached the travel portion, we did put money into travel to the national conference. I did want to share, so over the course of the year, the kids have gone to a state conference in Des Moines. That the adults have gone to the Drug Endangered Children. We've been going to local conferences. We don't tend to use any money from the grant for it, though. When the kids go, Bellevue Schools has provided all transportation at no cost to the grant. So it's not that this is the only thing we do, it's the only one we need to use grant money for.
Okay,
I just wanted to point that out. So I did put, just a little information about it. It's in Nashville this year. I listed the kids who were invited. One of them has opted not to go. They work and they don't want to give up a week of pay, and that's certainly fine. I respect that. The total cost is gonna be around 15,000. You'll see that in our budget, we have about 9,000 left, but we've done some fundraising. We've done a couple other things to reduce cost. The kids submitted to present at mid-year, which gets them free registrations and hotel. I will be presenting, getting free registrations and hotels. That's worth about 4,500. And the kids currently have 6,000 that they fundraise, and they have 3 more fundraisers before we go. Their goal is 9,000, and I think they're gonna get there, based on just, they've done these before. Last year, when they did cans at offshore campground, they made $2,700.
wow.
I would assume offshore campground will have relatively the same business. Yeah, it's a huge campground,
Yeah.
and they have collection bins all over, and they go weekly and they bring them to Punkies and they make good money. You know, I don't like selling things. They've done a couple where they fundraisers where they sold things. Moms have ran those. I've had no part of them. I don't think that's my job. So the moms are running the fundraising. And so I just want to let you know that our plan is to take 10 kids and go to Nashville. And then we'll throw out Matt and Marilyn Osterhaus. We're getting a bus and we're splitting it with Comanche DeWitt Coalition. The easiest and cheapest way to get a large number of people to Nashville. And Matt and Marilyn covered $2,100 of that bus for us, which again helps our budget tremendously. Something they offered to do spontaneously.
So these, estimates here, these are estimates like flight, that's not.
Well, so we have to write the budget like a year and a half ahead, you know, and that's
Yeah.
the problem. So we put
Yeah.
kind of placeholders in and we have
Yeah.
11,000 travel, and that's the number we need to hold to is the 11,000 travel.
So these are the children or the students that are going to go, is that the case?
Yes,
Okay, and the chaperones?
the chaperones are Chris Oshevsky, Jackie Flickinger, and Billy Joe Myers. They are mothers of 3 of the, well, actually of 5 of the students. Some of them have 2 kids going.
So they really don't have any ties to the coalition or anything like that?
Oh, yeah, no, they do other things. They participate in the coalition as well. To ask somebody who doesn't have kids to go,
Yeah.
it makes more sense,
Yeah.
somebody who knows the kids.
Yeah.
So I asked them, but they do other things as well. That's
So
why
I
they're,
believe they give us a report one year when they come back too also, did they? Where was
they
it?
sure did.
Yeah.
So let me so nobody's flying?
No,
Okay.
No.
Just check that.
we priced out plane tickets, and by the time you throw in airport parking and all that stuff, the bus, it's gonna cost $1,000 out of the kids' budget, and I'm gonna get 10 people to Nashville for $1,000. That's a way better deal. That's why we did the bus with Comanche DeWitt.
It's good. Have fun, keep us informed, maybe come back and do a presentation.
Yeah, I mean, long as they, again, go to this thing and get something out of it and take it to the schools and see what they found and see what they've learned, you said DeWitt, so is that Clinton County that doing
Yeah,
that?
they're splitting the bus with us.
Okay, so you correlate with Clinton, Dubuque or other Jones and see what kind of programs they're doing or what they're doing and stuff like that. We do a lot of that with different counties.
Yeah, Dubuque doesn't really have a youth group functioning, but we work a lot with the people out of Clinton and Jones County,
Okay.
Cool.
just because.
So
they
I know
have-
that Dubuque hired a special person for the opioid funds up there?
Yes, I met with her.
Okay,
She gave me some ideas. And
Yeah.
so, since I'm sitting here, I'm not gonna ask you to do anything. July 1st is that new mental health region, all that redo. And I've talked with Lene Birkin and trying to figure out what's gonna be in there, because it changes endlessly until, we're just like waiting till July 1st to see what actually comes out. For a while, care navigators were advertised on the PCA website at $12 an hour. But now it's gone. So did they fill them or did they change their mind? We don't know. So we're just kind of sitting back and watching till July 1st. Because I don't want to
everybody is.
duplicate. And so, yeah, it's not that we don't care. We stopped wanting to do anything. I think we just need to wait and see what they're gonna do to see where the gaps are and what we need to do to fill them.
That
So,
sounds good, cause
yeah. Yeah,
so a care navigator definition is who?
so for us, it was that person who's gonna help people find jobs, figure out how to get my social security number if I don't know it and I don't have a card and I can't get a job. It's really those activities of daily life to get people back to be employable and sustainable in recovery.
Okay.
But yeah, so it's not, I don't want you thinking we just went,
No, it makes sense, cause that's what we're doing, because,
Just
we're
hanging out.
losing funding for Lene July 1st, but we chose to fund it to kind of make sure there's a smooth transition as we figure out where we're going, because it's pretty dark at the end of the tunnel. right now.
yeah,
And we cooperate with Clinton County, we joined
Yeah.
forces with Clinton County, so there's,
We're trying to make it
working
work,
that out, so that's what we're looking for.
and they have care navigators already in Clinton County, funded through other monies. I was talking with Lene, she would be probably overqualified, but she could do something like this and, again, fund part of her position and not out of county dollars, and that would be a win as well. And she would be excellent, I have no
Yeah.
doubt.
Right,
So yeah, again, so much thinking we went, we're done. It's just kind of hanging out.
no, that makes sense, cause again, that's what we're trying to
Okay.
figure out too, so. We'll be interested to hear what you guys learned down in Nashville.
Yeah, the kids are excited. It should be good. So, thank you.
Thank you very much.
Yeah,
Thank you.
appreciate it.
Next up, we have is Miss Ruth. With Veterans Affairs, come on down.
Good morning.
Hello,
Hello.
reading. So our office stats for April, we had 41 in-person visits from veterans and family members. We fielded 80 phone calls about various Veterans Affairs related things. As far as forms that we filed, we did 7 intent to file forms. We filed 1 disability claim, 3 supplemental claims, 1 higher level review, 1 survivor's pension, 1 form for burial benefits, healthcare form. We had 17 decisions made in, I said January again, in April. Sorry, I apologize for that, that's wrong. And then 76 open claims for the month of April. And just for fun, I calculated how many of those were filed through our office, and 84% of those claims were filed through our office. So that's a good number, you know, and we'd like to obviously make it more than that, but I was happy that 84% of those had come through our office. For the county award report, that's for March, there are 416 veterans and eligible family members receiving $798,508 for Jackson County. As far as office updates, the movie's been chosen for the July 3rd event. They're going to show Top Gun Maverick, so hopefully that will be appealing to our veterans. Again, Boy 61 Driving Theater is donating the theater. They are donating a free small pop and popcorn for veterans and 20% off all concessions. They're also going to have, the veterans will get in for free along with anyone in their vehicle. And we're going to have prize drawings, vendors, and so it should be really fun. I included the flyer if anyone wanted to see it. Kind of neat. As far as community outreach, the article that went out in the newspaper was about the advantages of using a CVSO to file a claim. Veterans have a lot of different ways they can file claims. It doesn't have to come through our office, so I thought I would write an article about why there's some advantages to come in, you know, and talk to us and file your claims. And then we also took out ads in the Sentinel Press, the Bellevue Herald, and the Preston Times advertising our office. Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah, and the other information included in here, these are just the state statistics. It's really, really small. I apologize. It's hard to read. It just shows the disability ratings for the veterans 0 to 100%, and then total awards for the state, how many veterans are getting at that level, what their total benefit is for the month for those number of veterans, fiscal year to date, the average payment per month if you're at a specific disability rating. So just kind of interesting information, and that's for the state of Iowa, and then the one above is for the county for March. So.
I can read that one.
Yeah, I know, this one it's quite small. I know, I didn't bring my glasses over, and I'm like, don't ask me to read it because I can't.
took mine off.
Can't tell you what it says, but yeah, so that's what's going on in our office right now.
A lot of good things.
Exactly. We like to see it. Thank you.
Yeah, well, I like the advertising and get people involved in it, and yeah, it's a good deal.
Well, thank you so much. Have a
Yeah, thanks,
wonderful
Ruth.
week.
You bet. Lisa, we're on the roll.
Need a motion to approve the minutes of the May 13th, 2025 board proceedings and work session as by Auditor Smith and authorize publication in the official newspapers. So moved.
Second,
Got a motion by Nan, second by Mike to approve the minutes of the May 13, 2025 board proceedings and work session as written by Auditor Smith and authorized publication in the official newspapers. Any other discussion? All those in favor say aye.
aye.
Motion carries.
I need a motion to approve and authorize the auditor's office to issue warrants in the publication of the claims listing in the amount of $365,958.18. So moved.
Second,
Got a motion by Nan, second by Mike to approve and authorize the auditor's office to issue warrants in the publication of the claims listing in the amount of $365,758.18. Any other discussion?
a lot of rock in there.
Huh?
There
A
was
lot of rock, a lot of gas. I think it's about almost $190,000 in rock, about $31,000 in gas and a few other things there. It's
We hopefully got the moisture here now, continues the
settling.
reclaim process, and yeah.
Yeah. Any other discussion?
We'll find our potholes again.
There you go. No. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries.
Need a motion to accept and place on file the Veterans Affairs Commission meeting minutes for the April 9th, 2025 meeting.
So moved.
Second.
Got a motion by Mike, second by Nin to receive or accept and place on file the Veterans Affairs Commission meeting minutes for April 9th, 2025. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries.
I need a motion to approve the amendment of a special Class C retail alcohol license to Parker's Pit Stop LLC at 29-418 Highway 52 Bellevue, effective April 4th, 2025 through April 3rd, 2026.
So moved.
Got a motion by Mike, second by Nin to approve the amendment of a special Class C retail alcohol license for Parker's Pit Stop LLC at 29-418 Highway 52 Bellevue, effective 4 April 2025 through 3 April 2026. Any other discussion? All those in favor say aye. Aye. Motion carries.
That's all that I have for the board today.
So- All right, Luann?
Good morning.
Good morning.
Morning.
Calendar for this week. From 8 to 3 today was the workshop for all hazards preparedness at the EOC. Obviously, you're not gonna get there at 8 o'clock. 12:30 today is a safety committee meeting in the community room or by Zoom for NIN. At 4 o'clock is the Health and Human Services Aging and Disability Town Hall meeting by Zoom for anyone. At 5 o'clock is Jackson County Economic Alliance, either here in Hopin or by Zoom for Don. And at 7 o'clock is the Board of Health meeting in the community room downstairs. And then usually goes to those, she's on that board. Wednesday, May 21st at 1 o'clock is Mississippi Valley Workforce Full Board meeting, either in Burlington or by Zoom for Don. At 5 o'clock that night is a Conservation Board meeting at the Prairie Creek Recreation Area for any of you. Also at 5 o'clock is the ECIA Council meeting in Dubuque or by Zoom for Mike. Thursday, May 22nd at 9 a.m. is an RPA meeting in Dubuque or by Zoom for Don and Nin. At 1 o'clock is a Mississippi Valley Workforce CEO meeting by Zoom for Don. And at 5:30 is a HACAP meeting by Zoom for Mike. Friday, May 23rd at 7 a.m. is a Macokota Leadership Team meeting by Zoom for Don. Monday, May 26th, the courthouse will be closed in observance of Memorial Day. And our next regular meeting will be on Tuesday, May 27th at 9 a.m. And that afternoon at 4 will be an Early Childhood Iowa Council meeting in DeWitt for NIN. And at 7 o'clock is the Jackson County Board of Adjustment meeting downstairs in the community room for any of you that want to attend that.
Wednesday, I think, as of yesterday, they were taking a poll, but I think we have a special HACAP meeting at 12:30 tomorrow. Last I heard. That may have changed.
Good.
Right?
Thank you very much. All right, Beans. Still have a bit of time. We got some committee boards and commission updates.
Yeah, we had a waste authority meeting yesterday. Of course, everybody knows our transfer station is not open. But everything's cleaned up, everything's out of there. They inspected the concrete. They have one little spot they think they may have to maybe redo, but they have to redo some of the concrete every year anyway. So it wasn't a big deal. They were fortunate, but a couple of the semis did get damaged to some of the hood and the tarps and such, but we got them out. So they're still dealing with the insurance company, of course. I mean, yeah, the estimates are almost twice as much as they were 12 years ago when it happened. And the fire investigators are still working on their investigation as far as what, how, and whatever. But I mean, again, we talked yesterday in our meeting of a sprinkler system, and it's just, the warning system should have gone out maybe earlier we thought. So they're looking into that, whether heat or smoke or whatever it may have been. It's hard to put a suppression system in a building that's not heated and have enough water source unless it's a dry compound. It gets really, really technical and pricey, so I mean, we talked about parking the machines in another building overnight or something too, but one of the things that happened, so. Again, they're working at it. We think we could get up and running in about half the time as we can last year, providing, material is available.
Just so the community knows, they are
Yeah,
working on it,
right,
but
right,
we
we
have
are.
to,
We're working
Wait
on, it, but
for all
they are closed and, yeah, I mean.
all the
they
stuff
can't
to
take-
work together.
We talked
because-
about maybe taking minimal amount of material, but it just doesn't work to work around things and to.
Right.
They didn't have no electricity even yet. We couldn't even go, I mean, the toilets were running.
I mean, I think there was a
Well,
lot of
the electric-
comments out there.
No, but they gotta have water to them. And they can't get the water if the pump ain't running.
No, I get it, and it's just one of the things that we gotta follow the steps to follow the processes.
Right.
Keep us informed, we're glad to hear it.
Very unfortunate, but, we've talked to other, counties and other, landfills or transfer stations, if you will, and, they all, anybody that's been here says that you have one of the finest facilities around.
They do a great job.
Yeah, no, we're fortunate to have them and hope to get them back.
No, we had a Water Management Authority meeting last Tuesday afternoon and, things are going good. They're looking to expand to see what they can do as far as tackling other projects. So they're putting together another technical committee to kind of help figure out where we want to go next as far as tracking contaminations, things like that. That's going good. Then I was surprised to learn that there was a river cleanup Saturday from Royertown to Joinerville,
Oh,
where they programmed 2 hours to float from Royertown to Joinerville and pick up debris along the river. I don't know if anybody else has floated from Royertown to Joinerville. You can't do it in 2 hours, even if you paddle really, really hard. So,
No one's stopping and picking anything up.
Exactly. So, they said that was gonna be an educational process doing that, and they only had 2 people signed up at the time, but, that was something they were gonna try to do and see, and I'm curious to see how that worked out. I was unfortunately unable to, my grandkids stopped by, so I was unable to go, cause, I chose the grandkids, so, that was good. Limestone Bluffs. Michelle was the other one of the 2 that was going to help do the river cleanup, and I'm curious to hear how she thought it went, and she's got so many grants and things going on right now. It's almost dizzying, to hear all the different things she's in works with all the different groups in the area, so it's glad to see that up and running. And Together We Build met last night. They're still waiting to get their sign put on the wall. They're waiting. There's some communication and some things with the company that's gonna put the sign up there, doing the finishing touches on it, and they're gonna give a deadline. They want it up by June 15th, from what I understood. So hopefully we get that going. And other than that, they're just looking for people to utilize the facility. So if you're looking for a venue, the TWB building would be a great place to look at. So.
Yeah, and they're still selling their tiles and they have some other fundraising going on, so be looking for them out and about to try to. keep
so
things
they're
going.
kind of waiting with these tiles, I assume, till they get them all sold or whatever they're gonna sell and then start.
They got
No.
they got a large group of
There's a-
tiles sold.
They got somebody that are gonna put the tiles that have sold and they have they're in the process of getting put on the wall, hopefully in the next month or 2.
I see a couple hanging when I was in there.
Yeah,
I
they
think it was
they did put
display.
up a couple to kind of display them. They are gonna be doing one more, submitting into the company to get some more printed off to go up with this group that's gonna be going up, and then obviously they'll still have spots that you can buy.
Part of the
Tiles,
hangup
yeah,
was
but-
they had small tiles and big tiles.
Mhm.
And they were hoping there would be a mixture of the tiles bought to kind of give the wall more texture and dimension, but everybody bought big tiles.
Yeah,
So they don't have the diversity of tiles that they thought of. So if anybody's out there looking, regardless of what you're thinking, make sure you take a look and.
I think the big tiles are nice, they're a little more expensive, but again, that's, they look
and they
nice.
are good size,
I mean, they're a foot, ain't they? Foot by foot.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I think
12 by
they're foot by
12.
foot,
So.
yeah.
But
But they do have smaller tiles, so they're not, you don't have quite as much to contribute to it. It's a good way to,
Anything helps.
they haven't had fire alarm issues as of recent, but they were having some issues. So they're working, trying to get a few things tidied up. They're gonna meet
Still
with
having
some of the.
some door with the rain issues, which is very frustrating to me because that's been from
A year ago.
the day they opened. And we've addressed it with John several times and
So,
Nothing
with that being said, then, is the bond still in effect there too yet, or is that elapsed, or is that?
oh, I would say it's gonna be a lapse this month, if nothing else. They've been in there since May.
So they've been talking to, they've had contractors there, Scott, Jen and Dean have talked to the door people. They've done, they said one of the things that helped about most was Jeff
Put some
Kilberg went in
stripping
and put
around.
some stripping in to kind of help seal the door seals a little bit, but any big, and we've had, even with the lack of rain this spring, they have, with the one rain we got, when we got an inch and a half where every door leaked. So,
Which is frustrating because
It
as
is
we all know,
frustrating.
when you have the doors leaking, you're gonna end up with floor problems here real soon,
so
you know?
I don't know how much we can help lean on stuff, but it just seems maybe that'll be another part of the phone call with John. Here's, we can ask about the Together We Build because we're still having issues that just seems to be, ever since he left town, things have slowed down.
Very much so.
Yeah, no doubt, we need to, if they're still holding on to, or if our bonding, commitment runs out, we need to address. Yeah, I don't know, you build schools, you build apartments, you build whatever you build, they can water running into.
Those metal doors that open to the exterior aren't the first doors that do that in the
He
history
tried
of the world.
to, he tried, well, it's because you got the aluminum metal doors, blah, 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 and I'm like, drive through Macokota, every business in Macokota has a metal door on it.
Yeah,
You can't tell me every business in Macokota is experiencing water coming through their doors. I will not buy that.
I mean, even the new school in Bellevue, I'm sure, I mean, I don't know.
yeah. All right.
We had a lengthy Port Authority meeting. Again, they're still kind of looking for funding and trying to figure out who's gonna be their,
Physical agent.
yeah, type of deal.
You know, when
They
I
asked me
read,
if anybody in Macokota and Jackson County would be interested, and I said, I'm not throwing anybody under that bus. So,
you know, I read some of them from the Silker guy and, you know, and a lot of it pertains to Illinois, and of course, we understand that we probably not gonna have a port in Jackson County from
Right.
Sevilla to Bellevue, so, Santa Anita, so it's kind of hard for us to
And-
throw. You know, I would think their advocates would be our bureau. You know, I
They're
mean,
checking-
we're
they're-
talking a lot of grain, thing going on.
they're checking into that, they're checking, into like, the thought was like, you know, what input does the city of Clinton have, the city of Dubuque, and the issue is they're all kind of doing their own things.
Well, I mean, they have big grain hubs in Dubuque and Clinton, you know, and
You
they
know,
have.
and they've talked, you know, at first I thought the one was on board and then after talking to them more, they're like, no, we have our own deal that we're doing, so.
Yeah.
I'm not for sure where this is going. Out of all of the 5 or 6 counties involved, only one county actually budgeted.
Well, it was sold under the fact that most of us said, there would be no financial,
Right.
and they weren't really looking for financial. It was just
Yeah,
going to
but
be, they
that
can
was-
put a stamp on a letter.
That was one of their first meetings is all this, you know, maybe you need to budget so much per capita for your county, you know, and all that, and
I need to see the return on my budget.
Yeah,
so.
My
Yeah.
investment is
And
for
that's-
something.
And that's kind of my thing, I'm like, I don't see hugely where this will be a huge, you know. Yeah, you may be able to get some grant funding or whatever to do some dredging or something, but. You know, we don't have the big terminals around, so I don't know that. Where we really lie in this
Interesting.
whole,
I think whoever that's gonna house this needs to have one of the major ports or something where they're gonna benefit the most. I mean, for them to look at counties that really have no access or, you know,
Basically, it's recreation for us. I mean,
Right.
that's-
Yeah.
That's our take on it. I mean, obviously, the ports in Dubuque and Clinton are moving a lot of material, you know, whether it be fertilizer, whether it be agriculture, whether it be.
right,
there's a lot of different stuff coming into them.
You know, it's them having stuff coming in there benefits us because of the farming community, but again,
Yeah,
And I'm
It's
sure they
not-
have investments already with whoever their
Right.
suppliers are and whatnot. But
right, so.
yeah, I don't know what the drive is behind that whole. I don't really didn't understand it. And not that I want to.
well, again, we sat through that meeting and they were pretty much saying this is just so when somebody's applying for a grant, our porch could give them a letter that, yeah, we support this, and it would help them get, increase
Sure.
their chances of getting their grants. Now don't turn around and every county that was at that meeting was like, but we're not gonna put any financial backing behind this because we really don't know what you're even talking, a letter
Right.
here and
Well,
there.
that's what I'm talking.
But now to turn around and say, well, you guys need to throw some skin in the game, it's like, for what?
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
So,
Housing Authority had their meeting, basically, there's, stuff out there for lead removal and things like that, so.
Yeah, there always is, you kind of forget about some of the programs, that there is funds out there. I mean, it's usually a year or two in advance already, like
Right,
this year's.
Right, they're working
But
on
for
next
low
year's
income
already.
type, yeah, improvements, yeah, there's
Yep.
money available. Check into it.
Well, other than that, I did attend the 75th anniversary for the hospital. That went well. It was amazing, some of the historical stuff that was there and houses that were hospitals back
Yeah,
back
would
in
have been interesting. I couldn't get over that afternoon.
did you walk through the old facility too? As a tour?
So we, I guess Dan and I also went to the tourism banquet, annual tourism banquet down in Sibylla, and we got to tour the new Sips and Stitches, I guess.
Stitch and
So that's the
and the Post 74, which is
74 American Legion, they redid their building there. It was in their building. Had a good turnout. It was really interesting, and it's amazing when they put these numbers together, and I don't know how they put them together, but they claimed that close to $40 million was brought into Jackson County through tourism. So, I mean, it's a huge item. And we do one of the best in the states as far as percentage wise, the population of what we're bringing in. So they come here to see stuff,
No, I apologize for missing that, but I had the limestone book meeting.
Nope.
So,
No, it all went well. It went good.
You don't think about when you listen to some of these people talk, the little hidden treasures that we have right here in our backyard that we may not even think about, that other people are finding and coming and seeing.
And they give out grant money to these smaller institutions or smaller people that run these smaller businesses, whether they be a Airbnb or whatever it may be, the ski team and whatnot. So at least they can get money to do some advertising and do some brochures and really realize what's here. Yeah, there's a lot of stuff here.
That was interesting.
well, if nobody has anything else, why don't we take a brief recess? All right. We'll go ahead and reconvene at this time, and last up on our agenda is Renee and Jack with mental health, so floor is yours.
Good morning.
With exciting news, I hope.
Oh, yeah, real exciting. You'll be sending out balloons and everything.
Right, yeah, right. Yeah, we're winding down. The July 1 date is coming soon. David Farmer, he talked about the budget. As far as what the financials look right now, we are set to be in the positive by like 40,000. But Lori still thinks that that's not gonna be a very true number just because court committals are on the rise right now throughout the region. And so that's just an unknown cost. 3 weeks here in March, our region had 75 committals in 3 weeks, which is extremely high. And of those 75, 53 of them were new people that
New
had
clients.
never received services before. So that was a huge deal. Lori wasn't sure really what was causing that potentially. With the cuts that we've made, we have less care coordinators. And so maybe the ED care coordinators, they're not catching the people and diverting them and getting them that treatment before it gets to that committal point potentially we're just not sure. what else?
Warmer weather have something to do with it or no?
It does cycle, but this was extremely high.
Yeah, it
Like,
sounds like it.
normally, we
Yeah.
don't have, this high of a number, so, we're not exactly sure what's creating that, but,
Part of me kind of wonders if it's not because of all the changes that are being made and these people want to get their services, so they're
Trying to get it on.
coming through the door.
that's very true as well. And then the ASO, what we do know that they're gonna be doing is they're gonna be paying for the mental health counseling, psychiatric care, inpatient, outpatient treatment for psychiatric care, mobile crisis and substance abuse. They are going to continue the contracts we currently have for 6 months. So the providers who we are contracted with will continue to get paid for at least 6 months, and then within that 6 months, the ASO will be negotiating with those folks that we have contracts through. The one thing is that the ASO is gonna be going to Medicaid rates, so some folks will be having a lower rate than what they currently get paid.
Does that include like the crisis?
So that's gonna be crisis
Okay.
as well. So, and the crisis, it sounds like theirs is gonna be reduced because they said that the fees and wages that we were paying included startup fees. And since they're already go up and running, it sounds like they're gonna be reducing the rates of the crisis, mobile crisis and everything. So, and then we've got the DAP, and we did actually meet with the DAP last week. They couldn't really tell us a whole lot yet because, the folks with the DAP and the ASO were having a meeting with HHS yesterday. So we don't know what came of that meeting yet. But supposedly a lot of the answers and to the questions we had are supposed to be coming out in that meeting. And so hopefully we'll be hearing back from that soon. But the DAP, they will be doing more navigation, referrals, advice and guidance, and long-term services and supports. And they are also going to be looking at RCFs, transportation and rental subsidies, for some folks who like are in our cab homes in order to keep them, stable. So those were things that were taken off the table initially, but they've realized that those are kind of some key things that we had been providing, for folks, and that does keep them stable in the community. So the DAP is gonna be looking at that. The DAP, their budget is a small budget, so they have a lot to do with not a lot of resources.
What's that stand for?
So
What's the acronym stand
for the DAP, oh gosh, I didn't even bring that. So it's the,
Developmental.
I should know it off the top of my head, but I don't.
for? That's okay.
I'll bring it to
Everything is
you for the next,
acronym.
I'll bring it to you
I
for the
will
next.
remember,
meeting.
yeah.
I'm getting confused with this
Yeah.
alphabet soup.
Yeah.
No, I just, yeah, who was in on the?
So the DAP was the one that May and them,
Mhm.
had applied for
Okay.
and got, so that's that one.
Okay.
And so they're the ones that'll be doing kind of the long-term services. And then the court advocate, HHS did say that they will reimburse counties for the court advocate. They will reimburse reasonable expenses. So Lori did ask HHS, okay, reasonable expenses, so you'll pay 100% of the wages and benefits, and they just kind of nodded. Mileage, car upkeep for transporting, for going to the different counties, and they nodded yes. So it sounds like they'll cover everything that we need for our court advocate to do his job.
That
So,
reasonable expenses seems to be a popular phrase because they use that with that 911 stuff too, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, I don't know where that's going yet. Even.
Disability access point.
thank you. Lisa. And with that, so the 5 counties, Lori is working on the 28E agreement for the 5 counties for the court advocate. she's getting that all finalized on her end, and then she'll, send it our way to get approved for the 5 counties. The big thing that they were saying was, no wrong door with the ASO and the DAP, and warm handoffs. So people with disabilities or mental health issues should be able to call any of these folks, and they should be able to get them where they need to go and get the services that they need. What am I
Talked
missing?
about, final date for billing is for March, April, and May, and June is the 31st of August. And each county in our region will be getting a resolution ending the 28E, and that'll come to you, and you'll have to sign it and send it forward. And mental advocates will stay in place, and IHHS has not decided on how the advocates will be paid, whether it will be an hourly rate or if it will be a salary. They haven't determined that. Website will be vacated as of June 30th, 2025. And they will honor services that have been set for clients for 6 months. And then they'll have to reapply and go with the new system. Transportation will continue. Guardian services may still be available, we're not sure. County funded services will continue because the state is not the payer.
Yeah, so they do, they have a couple companies they're gonna contract with for the guardianship, but it's my understanding there might be a waiting list.
Yeah.
So, for that.
And it was your partner in crime's last day yesterday for a meeting,
Oh, yeah,
Becky Eccleston. He's retiring.
yeah, June 20th,
Yeah,
she'll be
yeah.
done, so, yeah.
How's the transition work, as you prepare to start working with Clinton County?
So I've gone to one of their board of supervisors meetings so far, and then, I've gone with Becky a couple of times just to kind of, see what her processes are and, how they kind of do things there. So she's been, talking to me and giving me some information and kind of filling me in on things, meeting some people, some key players, and, just getting that started.
Just make sure you don't get overwhelmed. Keep us informed of how things are going, because
Absolutely.
you're ours first.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes,
I
yes.
mean,
I'll keep you well informed and let you know how my time's being utilized and whatnot.
I think there's a lot of concerns.
Concerns with our agreement, you mean, or with?
No, with just the change.
Oh.
The system itself, yeah,
I'll be
yeah.
curious to see if these savings really
Well,
materialize versus the.
Honestly,
services.
Jack, there's always been a lot of concerns.
Oh, sure.
You know, I've been here for 8-9 years, but there's always concerns the way it sounds, you know.
Yeah.
But I don't think concerns are quite as drastic as they
Yeah.
are right now
Yeah.
with the consumers of services.
Well, when you throw them kind of numbers out there and say, yeah, is that gonna continue with new individuals, or
Right.
that's a different animal, yeah.
Certainly is.
You know,
And can
it'd
they
be curious
handle
to,
that?
Pardon?
And can they handle that?
it'd
Well-
be curious to see if that's kind of statewide. I
Yes,
mean, them kind of numbers.
that would be interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's our region, but yeah, it'd be
Yeah.
interesting to see if it is,
Yeah,
More.
yeah.
yeah. So could reach out to some of the other regions and see if they're experiencing that as well.
An increase in,
Yeah. But yeah, and with the DAP, they're gonna have like, their 10 coordinators for the 14 counties, so yeah, it is a concern that, you know, if they're gonna have to manage their time very wisely.
And they said yesterday too, those coordinators may have to have a desk or an office in
Yes.
each one of the
A
counties.
landing
A
spot.
landing spot.
So,
So-
yes, so they'll be based out of, they'll have people based out of a couple different counties, but then they want them to be able to come to all the different counties and have a landing spot.
we have a basement.
So, yeah, So. We got places, yeah, they
Yeah.
can set up their laptop and meet with people if they need.
No, but you're talking about this coordinator or whoever it is. I mean, obviously, a lot of this is gonna be done over the internet and over the phone and whatnot, and to find a place for them to go. I mean, you gotta get them there, but, or
Yeah.
what the situation calls for, but, yeah.
Right.
It's like, it's just gonna be to me, it's be a lot of coordination that say you gotta have a lot of data or a lot,
A lot of information. They're
Yeah.
supposed to be developing a cheat sheet, which we should all be getting with who to call for what
Yeah,
situation
yeah.
and have it all spelled out.
Yeah.
So it's gonna be a lot of information
Yeah.
and learning where to go.
as long as the person you call is prepared and ready and active and
And I
they have
think
the
that's
resources
I
to go
think,
to also,
I think
It's
that's,
a chain of events here,
I think that's a concern.
Yeah.
And we're not gonna have Lori.
No,
To go to, that's what I'm saying is, we call here, we call there, but then the next link of the chain is either weak or broken, then it's done.
right.
I mean, if it all works well, it'll be a
Yes.
good thing.
Yeah, it
as long
sounds
as,
like
You
it.
know, like, no wrong door, that
Yeah.
sounds like a great
That
process
sounds
because that
Great
does get
slogan.
frustrating
Good
to
name.
people, but.
Yes, it is. I agree. And if it works the way they want it to, which hopefully, it will at some point. The first year will probably be a little rocky,
Sure.
but, we'll be there to catch up.
Well, you don't wanna be negative about it. I mean, it's a process and if it needs to be overhauled.
It's happening.
So it's
So
happening.
You gotta embrace it
So
and
let's-
hope for the
let's use
best.
it, Yeah.
Work with it and make it work.
But we have Lenny. We'll do fine.
That's right.
I'll help.
Anything else?
That's all I've got.
Thank you very much. We appreciate your time.
Thank you.
Yeah, stay with it. Keep us updated if you need to and
Absolutely. Thank
good
you.
luck this weekend.
Yeah, thank you.
Have fun.
Yes,
Take care.
hopefully the weather is good.
Kids running.
Oh,
Nice.
yeah,
Well, upper sixties they're saying, so.
that'd be all right. Not bad, not too hot, not too cold.
Exactly.
All right.
Anybody else have anything for the good of the meeting?
So for the business, I make a motion, we adjourn.
I'll second that.
Got a motion by Mike, second by Dan to adjourn. Any other discussion? All those in favor say aye. Aye.
Hi.
Have a great Memorial Weekend, everybody.